Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 91, 5 best Nick shows from the 2000s. So guys, in today's edition of the Rabbit Hole Roundup, I'll be starting with a super fun topic, which is what are the 5 best Nickelodeon shows from the 2000s/2010s? And to be clear, on this list, I will not be accepting arguments or disagreements or any dissent. Just kidding. For anyone who grew up with these shows, we all know how much these shows shaped our childhoods.
I repeat things for emphasis. Emphasis!
Following that, I have another Charlie Sheen soundbite, where he talks about what he didn't like about AA. And of course, just to be clear, this is not everyone's experience, but he does bring up some super valid points, such as not over-identifying with your disease and not constantly reinforcing your trauma. Then after that, I review my current favorite rapper, Connor Price's debut album, About Time.
My debut album just dropped.
Couple day ones, I'm keeping them close.
He had some sick features on this album, whether it was Big Sean, Hoodie Allen, or even like the actor Idris Elba, so I was super excited to listen to this. After that, I talked about a really wholesome movie that came out on Netflix recently called Nona's, starring Vince Vaughn, and this movie was based on a true story and has like a really positive message and some super awesome takeaways. And finally, after that, I talk NFL Week 5, some quarterback change-ups and debuts, and then MLB playoffs coverage and recap. And we get to see how my predictions are looking. Anyways, without further ado, let's dive deeper now. Rabbit hole time, let's go.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys know that, must mean not subscribe to the channel so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts in the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through It by Jared Weiss. All links pretty sure on my website, which is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. Buy the book, support me, and make sure to check out all the awesome shirts in there as well. Every shirt is made of 100% organic cotton. Every shirt has been designed by yours truly. Every shirt has like some positive motivational words in it. So any support at all, as I'm always saying, is very much appreciated. So let's dive deeper in now. So for any fellow kids out there who grew up in the 2000s and who were born in the 90s, like myself who was born in 96, one of the best parts of childhood, culture-wise, was getting to watch some of the best Nickelodeon shows ever made. So for a fun conversation, because I really enjoy making these top 5 lists, I want to rank, in my opinion, the top 5 Nick shows ever from the 2000s/2010s. And you guys can judge me all you want, but like I still watch all these shows to this day and still love them. Get at me. Number 5, I'm going with Rugrats. So honestly, this was my hardest choice, as the rest of them are going to be no-brainers and shouldn't even be in question in my opinion. But for number 5, I was initially thinking Fairly Odd Parents, which was of course great in its own right, with the whole cartoon and comic elements, plus Cosmo was absolutely hilarious.
Well, you know what I think? Who cares what you think? You're a girl now.
Timmy and his friends were super funny. Timmy's teacher, Mr. Crocker, was an absolute nutjob. However, Rugrats and also All Grown Up, looking back, tied in some super powerful life elements, with of course silly concepts coming from a baby's perspective.
You're only a baby. A baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do.
Like for instance, the episode where Tommy and Chucky go to work but don't feel like real adults. How many of us can relate to that today? Does anyone ever actually feel like their true age? Or of course you also had the All Grown Up episode, and you had the Mother's Day episode which got super deep and emotional, with Chucky's whole backstory. I could have also gone with Zoe 101 for number 5. Anyways, moving on, we have number 4, we have the show Victorious, starring Victoria Justice. So this of course was a 2010 show that in my opinion was absolute gold. So Tori Vega was like this innocent, naive girl who was super talented, who had a crazy sister who thought that she was talented but like really wasn't at all, in Trina.
How did your sister get into the school?
I don't know. I guess she just auditioned and got in.
But she's untalented.
Ariana Grande was hilarious in her role as Kat, who wasn't very smart and someone who loved Bibble.
It's my sack of Bibble.
And Candy and buying silly products and laughing at random times. You also have Robbie and Rex, who might be like the most underrated duo in the show. Rex, of course, was Robbie's puppet, who made fun of him all the time, even though Robbie was the one controlling him and controlling everything he said. Rex would roast Robbie all the time.
You want to read it?
Yes. It says, Robbie will never be loved by a woman.
An episode where Rex dies, quote unquote, and comes back to life is absolute comic genius. Jade and Beck were a couple who always fought with each other, Beck being the stereotypical popular guy, while Jade on the other hand was like very dark as a person. Andre and his grandma were hilarious, and of course all the characters were also super talented musicians. a bunch of the cast actually went on to have major careers of their own, such as Leon Thomas, a great singer, of course you have Ariana Grande, and also Victoria Justice, who's now starring in movies these days. The side characters on that show were the best too, such as the teacher Psychowitz, and also Sinjin, who was like this awkward teenager who spied on people, ate bird food, and just did some straight up weird things.
Sinjin, do not lick the balloons!
Number 3, we have iCarly, which had the premise of a webcast set up by Carly Shay, who's played by Miranda Cosgrove, and her best friend Sam, played by Jeanette McCurdy. And Carly lives with her brother Spencer, who's played by Jerry Trainer, who's essentially a grown-up kid, and he's always setting things on fire. He's making funny art, trying to get girls in funny ways, but he's also like a really good supportive brother.
My loaf of bread is just about done.
You have Freddie, who has a crush on Carly throughout the show, and then we have possibly the greatest supporting actor on any show. Maybe that actually deserves like its own list. You have Gibby.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Gibby.
She doesn't speak English.
I'm still Gibby.
Gibby's an absolute legend. Anything like that guy says was always laugh out loud funny. My favorite episodes are when Gibby sings with One Direction, and then you also have the episode where Gibby decides like to open up his own restaurant in the basement of the school.
More hot meat for everyone.
And of course, Locker 239. Amazing stuff. Plus also like another supporting actor who wasn't in like a ton of episodes, but who was also very funny. Tebow, the owner of the Groovy Smoothie. Number 2, we have SpongeBob SquarePants, which could easily be number 1 too. Early SpongeBob was like peak humor, especially seasons like 1 to 4 and even up through 6, I guess. And there are also some later episodes that are decent, but almost nothing out there can compare to early SpongeBob. So back when Patrick was like hilariously dumb or just totally unaware is amazing. And you have the episode that like I clip up all the time with Man Ray when Patrick says, "It's not my wallet."
And if that's the case, this must be your wallet.
That makes sense to me.
Then take it.
It's not my wallet.
Or when you have SpongeBob who shrinks Squidward, and Patrick goes into a whole soliloquy talking about the word wumbo.
I wumbo, you wumbo, he, she, me, wumbo.
You have the famous line when Patrick goes, "Maybe we should take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else." Squidward reacting and raging at SpongeBob and Patrick was always hilarious. You have the Magic Conch episode, or arguably my personal favorite, which actually doesn't come until season 6, which is House Fancy, when Squidward's whole house explodes while he's trying to impress Squilliam, and Patrick destroys his bathroom.
I wouldn't go in there for a couple days. Or weeks.
You have the episode Bang Geeks, also where Squidward's trying to impress Squilliam, and that one bluefish who's like an absolute troll says, "Well, maybe we wouldn't sound so bad if some people didn't try to play with big meaty claws." Or when Squidward says, "Maybe we should play so quiet that like no one could hear us." I could go on and on. An amazing legendary show. And finally at number 1, drumroll please, we have Drake and Josh. This show will always be my absolute favorite and like it's always gonna hold a special place in my heart. The dynamic between the two, Drake being the cool ladies man, rock star, but also stupid and thinks there's a New Jersey.
There's a New Jersey?
Yeah, they just opened it.
Or who opens up his house to a bunch of college spring breakers, or the buying a bunch of Gary girls, and when he says to the cop, "We're not Caucasian, we're white."
Eyewitnesses say the thieves were 2 clean-cut Caucasian males.
We're not Caucasian, we're white guys.
And then you have Josh who explodes on Drake all the time.
Headaches! You give me headaches! Evils of gambling. Evils!
Josh being the super smart, laughable geek, who's also extremely gullible. The best episode in my opinion is The Affair. I died of laughter every time I watched Walter choking on cumin when the recipe was supposed to be cinnamon.
Cumin! You put cumin in his waffles? You told me to put cumin in his waffles. I said cinnamon! Cinnamon! You were flavoring a waffle, not a chimichanga!
And of course, another legendary supporting actor is Megan, played by Miranda Cosgrove, whose whole goal in her life is to make her brother's lives miserable. And the parents in that show are fantastic as well. You also have Helen and Crazy Steve.
Potato? Oh, pip pip the doodly doo. Pip pip the doodly doo.
Just honestly the best show ever. Enemies, let me know your thoughts on my list. Let me know if I got it right or wrong. Next, I want to bring up another Charlie Sheen soundbite. So of course I had a video a few weeks ago on the Jared and James channel talking about a deep dive into the lessons that all of us can learn and take away from the Charlie Sheen documentary on Netflix. And I also spoke about some takeaways in the last episode on this channel. So he's been going around writing his whole redemption story, which I think is really cool to see. Of course, as I said last week, a lot of his problems were in fact self-inflicted, but now he's making amends and making changes in his life, which is something I totally respect. So in a recent podcast that Charlie did with Tucker Carlson, Charlie was talking about AA, aka Alcoholics Anonymous, and he made a super powerful point, which is like how often it reinforces trauma when you constantly bring it up. So first off, before going a bit deeper, I want to acknowledge this, and Charlie made sure to say this as well. AA can be great for so many people, and it has helped and changed so many lives. And the whole 12-step program has changed lives too, but it didn't work for him. So anyways, he says how, when you identify with your trauma, and constantly say things like, I'm Charlie, I'm an alcoholic, that identity holds weight. So yes, the purpose is of course to help people realize that they're not alone, but the more times that you say it, it reinforces this identity as if that's all there is to you, when in reality, there's so much more to you and to your story. And Charlie gave this example of a guy who refused to say his name and then alcoholic, and this guy ends up getting sober. So the reason why I bring this up is because, as I'm always saying, people can change at any time and no one is just one thing.
You can change, you can adapt.
You're never a fixed entity who's just like set in stone as that one thing. You can choose to rewrite your story at any time, so just because you were this thing yesterday, or even over the past 5 years, doesn't mean that like you have to be that way forever. Another powerful point that Charlie made is how you're expected to keep coming back every week.
Even if it takes forever!
Now, of course, consistency is great, but in his case, he saw it as, if I'm always identifying with my trauma, and I'm telling myself the same stories again and again, and I'm telling everyone I'm an alcoholic, how will I ever overcome that? And I see a lot of similarities with everything he was saying to my beliefs on modern medicine. So I'm a believer in terrain theory, and of course I have my own beliefs on the whole pharmaceutical industry and all the toxins, but beyond that, and of course beyond emergency situations, where of course modern medicine can be great, but beyond that, I believe that like, it teaches you to identify with your disease, and to even be proud of it.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well.
Versus focusing on overcoming it. It becomes like, oh, I have to take these pills every day, and I have to keep on coming back, and I can't ever get better just because this person wearing a white lab coat told me that. And this is why holistic health makes so much sense to me and resonates with me, and why I'm on a holistic healing journey of my own, in spite of having so many doctors having no clue what was going on with me, and telling me that like all my issues couldn't be healed from. I never accepted that, and I never accepted any of these man-made labels for me, or any of these false identities. And this is why every time I've spoken about my whole life-threatening illness that I've been healing from, I always say I'm healing from it. I never identify with any label, or make it sound like it's scary and incurable, because it's not, and like I don't believe that. I believe anything can be healed from when given enough time and like enough of the right inputs, and so I choose to empower myself over this thing. And one final point that Charlie made was that he never felt celebrated for his wins when he was there, but rather it was always focusing on when you're gonna mess up as if doing that was inevitable. And that's a huge problem because once again, if you're doing that, you're not even giving yourself a chance to heal. So once again, just to repeat, AA can be great. It has helped so many people, and a ton of people have a great experience with it. But the reason I brought this up is because I want to focus on some of the parallels that Charlie's story had when it comes to me healing from a life-threatening illness, and I wanted to touch on some of the important points that I thought he made. Moving ahead, I want to talk about my current favorite rapper, Connor Price's debut album, About Time, which finally came out after a ton of fan demand. So once again, initially an actor, and a child actor, super talented person who realized like he had a knack for rapping, he has a crazy flow and all of his collaborations are amazing, whether it's with Nick D or Hoodie Allen. So on this album, About Time, which I thought was like an absolute masterpiece, he got features from Big Sean on the song Moolah, which is probably my favorite song on the album, which was all about like how money shouldn't be the driving force behind everything you do, but rather it magnifies and amplifies who you already are and the values that you have. And Connor says how he used to chase the rewards, but now the reward is coming from the chase. Very powerful stuff. My next favorite song was called Back to You, which featured Hoodie Allen, which I think is about like always ending up back with the same girl, even after having broken up with her, or having been through a lot with that person. You also have an interesting feature coming from actor Idris Elba on the song More Mentors. By My Side is a sweet song about his family. I also love the song Push with Nick D. Their collabs are always amazing together, and I can't get enough of those. The opening song in the album, called About Time, was also really good and powerful, as was the song Boats. Overall, an amazing A+ album, basically with no skips. Not meaning that like every song is my favorite, but I could listen to the album, no skips, with no problems. Some of the songs got super deep into his whole work-life family balance, and I can definitely see Connor's whole evolution and development as an artist. He's awesome. Next up, I want to talk about the new Netflix movie, known as starring Vince Vaughn. So this was based on a true story of an Italian kid who, after his mom and grandma passed away,
I'm going through my mom and Nona's recipes, and then I realized food is love.
He wants to carry on their traditions of cooking, so he decides to open up an Italian restaurant where the cooks are going to be Nona's or grandma's.
So I want to open an Italian restaurant. What are you, crazy?
Because who doesn't love grandma's cooking? And so there was a really sweet, wholesome message behind this movie. This was by far Vince Vaughn's most wholesome role ever, and I was totally blown away by this.
Blown away!
Because I've cried of laughter from his movies, such as like his role in Wedding Crashers, which is the top 5 funniest movie ever in my opinion.
John, this is completely against the rules. You have a wedding and a reception to seal the deal.
But I never expected to cry from a touching role from him.
It has to work because it's not just a restaurant, it's more about family, especially for people who may not have family anymore.
From a super touching emotional role from him. I never would have thought that Vince Vaughn is like a sentimental guy and a deep actor, so I never could have imagined him playing a role like this, and yet he was able to pull it off really well.
The only thing that you're going to regret are the moments that you did not take.
It was definitely a super feel-good movie, and once again, I was not expecting this at all from him. And getting back to the story itself, I can totally relate to opening up your doors and not having any customers early on. I still feel this way sometimes, as I'm still in my whole come-up stage, so to speak, whether as a content creator or an author, and of course I also have my own clothing line / t-shirt line. I've been through it so many times over and over again, making posts where I'm the only one who likes them, several months not selling any books or t-shirts, and yes, I know that it takes time to build something real and meaningful, and so this movie was another reminder of why I can't give up, because all it takes is enough time, effort, and belief in myself and belief in what I'm doing, and all of a sudden, you never know when it's going to be, but I have no way you get 1 customer, or 5 customers, or some really great comments, or a video that finally blows up, and all of a sudden business is booming. So anyways, really well done, a really solid movie with an awesome message. Anyways, on to this week's NFL Week 5 recap, as well as MLB playoffs opening rounds recap. Let's go now. So first up, we're going to break down the MLB playoffs up to this point. Starting with my team, the New York Yankees. The wildcard series was great, of course. Cam Schlittler put together an incredible performance, 12 strikeouts, to close out the Red Sox in spectacular fashion. Now in this current series against the Blue Jays, I'm not going to lie, I underestimated them. I thought the Red Sox were going to be the toughest opponent who the Yankees had to face in the AL, so after winning that series, I felt easy path ahead. This Toronto team though looks tough, and the Yankees are facing elimination tonight, at the time of filming. I'm hoping that Rodon can put together an incredible performance and start the Yankees back up again, especially because it's back to New York tonight. It's tough to win though, when you give up 13 runs and 10 runs, but also the bats have barely showed up too. The crazy thing is though, it's not because Judge hasn't showed up. I mean, yes, you could say he's not smashing home runs like he did in the regular season, but he does have 8 hits already. The Yankees definitely need some more power early in games, but to get shut out by a rookie pitcher who only pitched 4 starts up to this point is crazy. However, they did manage to show some life in the end of Game 2. Still have Rodon tonight and then hopefully Schlittler in the next game. But I think it's crazy that Toronto didn't even put Max Scherzer or Chris Bassett on the playoff roster, and yet they're still up 2-0 and Vlad Jr. is hitting bombs. That lineup has been on fire, but hopefully not for long. Tigers-Mariners has been looking like super evenly matched series. In the opening round, we saw the dominance of Tarek Skubal, who's insanely good, and same thing the other night except for 2 home runs from Jorge Polanco. Cal Raleigh has been playing really well, although he hasn't had any home runs yet. This series though can honestly go either way. The Dodgers are looking like the most complete team in baseball, shocker I know. Ohtani hit his first pitching playoff win the other night, striking out 9 batters. And ending round 1, Ohtani also with 2 home runs. Blake Snell pitched 6 shutout innings. You also have Glasnow coming out of the bullpen, and you have Roki Sasaki, an emerging closer all of a sudden. He also killed my fantasy team during the season because he wasn't good this year, but suddenly he's emerged as a flamethrowing closer out of the bullpen. The Phillies are a good team, but the Dodgers are just a cut above everyone else. Teoscar Hernandez has showed up big, and I don't know, but I don't see the Phillies coming back. It would have to take Schwarber hitting some home runs, Trey Turner getting hot, and the pitching of course would have to be lights out. The Phillies may win a game, but the Dodgers are probably going on to the World Series just because of the sheer depth of that team. Brewers Cubs has been a bit surprising in my opinion, because I wasn't sure if the Brewers were for real, but 9 runs in Game 1 and 7 in Game 2. Churio, Yelich, and Contreras have all showed up big. Freddie Peralta pitched a solid game in Game 1. And then suddenly for the Brewers, you also have Jacob Mizorowski coming out of the bullpen, throwing 104 miles per hour, and like he threw 31 pitches over 100 miles per hour in last night's game. That team can be scary. So that's your MLB coverage. Go Yankees tonight. Now time for Week 5 NFL talk. First up, Thursday night we saw Mac Jones go off for a depleted 49ers team, and like he was able to lead them to an overtime win over the Rams. Both QBs definitely came to play. Jones threw for 342 yards and had 2 touchdown passes. And Stafford continues his impressive season as he had 389 yards and 3 touchdown passes. Just so you know, like I've been saying this all season, before it became cool to say it. I saw spurts last year where Mac Jones was playing with enthusiasm and like grit for the Jaguars, and now you have on a 49ers team, and now you have all these people saying like there's a QB battle brewing there. Plus he was also playing through an injury. His level of grit and like tenacity is insane. Stafford on that Rams offense is looking incredible still, but a super tough division loss. That division's looking really competitive right now. Browns versus Vikings. I've also been saying this for the past few weeks. Carson Wentz deserves to be a starter in the NFL, and if the Vikings can rattle off some more wins, there should be a conversation there between him and JJ McCarthy. On the other side, for a rookie QB, taking out all the Stuart Sanders nonsense talk, Dylan Gabriel played a solid game. Was he spectacular? No, but he played his role pretty well, I thought. I'm actually someone who likes Joe Flacco a lot, and was hoping like he was going to last longer, but unfortunately a bad Browns team, rough receivers, bad offensive line sort of killed him, and also too many turnovers and like a lack of mobility. But Dylan Gabriel held on to the ball, and of course, you know what his limits are. He's not going to push the ball downfield, but he's got the checkdowns mastered. He threw for 2 touchdowns and no picks. Now I will say, where was this David Njoku back when Flacco was starting? I didn't see him have any catches all season up until this game. But I will also say that like DG found out the hard way that the team lacks talented receivers, and the QB was never the only problem. The reason though that Gabriel was a slight improvement is because he has more mobility than Flacco, but he also still experienced having a rough O-line. Anyways, Gabriel of course is a lot like Tua, which is fine, but like that only really works if you have insanely fast receivers who can make small plays into big ones, but he is also a super smart football player. We'll see what happens there going forward. Jackson Dart was a mixed bag this week, which is of course normal for a rookie. He threw 2 touchdown passes, but like he also had 2 picks, and both of those picks turned out to be pretty costly. He did also have like some big runs, but the Saints were able to get their first win, and Spencer Rattler's first win like in his first 10 or 11 starts. And this week was also the return of Taysom Hill, who's someone I will never get tired of watching play football. It was looking like the Dolphins were back to being a good team. Tua's been playing much better, and of course ever since Darren Waller came to that team, the offense has suddenly been looking solid. But Rico Dowdle had a monster game for the Panthers, rushed for over 200 yards, and Bryce Young helped lead that comeback. Dak Prescott continues his MVP level season, as the Cowboys beat the Jets, but of course it's not much of an accomplishment these days. Is there a problem brewing in Philly, or is it just like a one-game thing? The Broncos defense shut down the Philly offense in the 4th quarter, led by Patrick Surtain of course, and of course Bo Nix and J.K. Dobbins led that offense. But is there a controversy going on between A.J. Brown and the Philly coordinators, or Jalen Hurts maybe? I think it might just be like a case of too much talent on that team and too many mouths that have to get fed. Hurts made some big throws to Devontae Smith and Saquon, but like he missed A.J. Brown on a deep ball late in that game. Hurts also got sacked 6 times. Now someone has to investigate the Arizona Cardinals, so I've spoken about this in the past. So like I don't believe the people who say things like sports are totally scripted and like the players are all just actors. I think that's nonsense, even as someone who questions everything. However, there is definitely rigging and manipulation that happens. That of course is undeniable. But for the Cardinals to drop a touchdown right before the goal line, and then have an interception, drop it, fumble it, and then the Titans score a touchdown? Just saying it all looked a little bit sus. And I'm sure a lot of money was put on Arizona. Anyways, Daniel Jones continues impressing as he threw for 2 touchdowns and Jonathan Taylor ran for 3. And Geno Smith continues his rough start for the Raiders, which I'm like a bit surprised to see. I was expecting Geno and Pete Carroll to have like a solid reunion, but it hasn't looked that way thus far. CJ Stroud saved himself after some very odd comments the other day about like getting old, as his Texans destroyed the Ravens without Lamar Jackson. That team's definitely in trouble right now. Patriots upset the Bills, giving them their first loss, as Drake May made some big plays, and the Patriots defense, of course the Patriots being coached by former Patriots linebacker Mike Vrabel. That team looks interesting. Lions beat the Bengals, Commanders beat the Chargers. Anyways, onto the 2 biggest games of the week, in my opinion. Let's go now. So the 2 best games of week 5 were Bucs Seahawks and Chiefs Jaguars. So the Bucs Seahawks was a matchup of former Panthers backups, who were essentially discarded by the rest of the NFL, turned stars on new teams. Baker Mayfield is probably the MVP as of right now. 10 touchdowns, 1 interception, and every game has been one score, and he just keeps leading comeback drives. He also found his new favorite target, Egbuka, for 163 yards and a touchdown. That duo was looking insane, and then you're going to add Mike Evans back to that mix. Egbuka may end up leading the NFL in receiving yards and touchdowns by the end of this year, especially if he and Baker keep connecting at this current rate. Now, if the Bucs lose some of these one-score games, is it a different story? Probably. But Baker is currently leading that team to a 4-1 start, and he's playing out of his mind. On the other side of the ball, Sam Darnold played an incredible game as well. As he threw for 341 yards and 4 touchdowns of his own. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been playing great. I said this last week, I was expecting Seattle to look horrible at the start of this year. I mean, losing DK Metcalf, you have a new QB in Sam Darnold, but he's showing like he's for real and he's here to stay. I don't think anyone would have believed it a few years ago. If I had told you Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold were going to be leading 2 of the best offenses in the NFL, but that's what's going on right now. And in my second game of the week, Monday Night Football, it was the Chiefs versus the Jaguars. So I saw this as like a statement game for whoever won this game. It was either going to be the Chiefs saying, we're back, or the Jaguars saying, we're for real. And it ended up being the latter as the Jaguars won 31-28 in a back and forth game, where the winning touchdown was Trevor Lawrence stumbling twice, getting back up, and then running into the end zone. Both QBs had some big runs, but the Chiefs dropped to 2-3 in a tough division, while the Jaguars improved to 4-1. Chiefs are going to have to figure that out fast. Travis Hunter had a great game on both sides of the ball, proving all the naysayers wrong. He had a huge 44-yard catch, and he also played 25 snaps on defense too. Anyways, that's your sports recap for the week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below now. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the message. Hope you guys enjoyed all the topics. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding. Catch you next time. Don't give up. Peace.